Hello YouTube, this is Detroit Borg, and in my last video you saw me demonstrate the remote app for the iPod Touch and iPhone. This time I'd like to take a look at the one for the iPad. Of course it is also a free app, and you can see right here, so what we're going to need to do is launch that. And you can see I only have one device on here, and that's Michael's Apple TV, which is my first generation Apple TV. But what I want to do is add my library from my iMac and add my Apple TV too. So let's go ahead and tap the gear icon in the upper right corner, and what I need to do is turn on home sharing. So let's go ahead and turn that on. I'm going to type in my Apple ID, which could be your iTunes account. Now home sharing is a service that allows iTunes and other devices on the same Wi-Fi network to communicate to each other. I'm just going to click done. Verify. Now I have three devices. I have my Apple TV 2nd Gen and I have my library on my iMac. I can also add another library, and you saw me do this in the previous video, so I'm not going to do it again, but all I have to do, add library, take this PIN number or passcode to an iTunes account on another computer in the same Wi-Fi network, and that would give me access to that iTunes library on that computer. So now I have access to the Apple TV, so let's tap Apple TV. Now when I first activate the remote for the Apple TV, I'm given some instructions on how to use it very briefly. It tells me that in order to access iTunes libraries on the Apple TV, just pick the one that you're sharing with the Apple TV in the left-hand column. And right now it's only one, it's just a library from my iMac. So if I press on that, I see my entire iTunes library on my iMac. And of course this works with any iTunes account or any iTunes library either on Mac or PC, so it doesn't have to be an iMac. Now here we have my music, movies, TV shows, podcasts, Genius mixes purchased, Genius, 90s music, and all these playlists that have been created on my iMac. And you can see the album art here. You can also search, so I'm just going to search Coldplay because that's the example I seem to always use in my videos. So when I search Coldplay I get live results, and I have Coldplay as artists. So let's just pick Viva La Vida. Let's do Viva La Vida. So here I have Viva La Vida playing on the Apple TV, and now the iPad is my remote, and you can see I can click play, pause. I can also fast forward, skip to the next track. I can also scrub it. So let's turn it on and scrub it. You can see it's fairly instantaneous even though it's using Wi-Fi. I can also go to a different control set up here. I can go to this trackpad-like configuration, and just like the iPhone and iPod Touch, you can turn your iPad into a big trackpad. So basically you use your finger to scroll around on the menus, and you tap your finger to select. Now if you want to get back to your library, just click done, and here's your library again. So if you want to go back to playing music, let's go to Life in Technicolor, and there you go. You can also control the playback of iTunes on other computers. So for example, if you have a Mac Mini Home Theater and you want to control your playback through the remote app, you can do that as well. Of course, you would just need to add that iTunes library to the home sharing network. And in this case, I want to control my iMac. So this is my iMac's library. If I just click that, and again, we can see my entire iTunes library on my iMac, and I can control it. So instead of basically controlling the playback of iTunes through the Apple TV, I'm controlling it through the computer itself. So again, let's go to Coldplay. There we go. Let me turn it up. Now, just like the iPod and iPhone, we're also able to play back the audio through the computer or every other device I have activated for home sharing. So I have my computer, Apple TV, my 2nd generation Apple TV, and my first generation Apple TV. So if I select one of these, like the Apple TV, oops, slow to react here. If I select Apple TV, the playback will now go through my home theater. Okay, so let's go back to speakers. Now let's go to multiple, and let's select my computer, And we also have these volume sliders, so if we want to change the volume on each device, we can. Seems to be slow to react. There we go. Okay, now let's go to play.
Never be cruel. I wanna live life.
So there you go, it's playing back on 2 speaker systems right now. Let's pause that. And we can go back to single. Let's uncheck. Let's just select Apple TV. Let's see if that did the trick. Yep, okay. We can also control movies, so if you want to play back Star Trek, we can. So right now Star Trek is playing back on my computer, and if I want to go to Apple TV, I have to go right to the Apple TV device itself, go to my library, let's go to movies, play back Star Trek. So you can hear it playing back right now. I'm not going to show you, but take my word for it, it's playing back on my home theater. If I tap now playing, I basically get the album art, and I get some media control, so I can click pause, play, next chapter, pause, and you can also scrub it. Takes a little second to catch up, but it does scrub pretty quickly. So once again, guys, this is Detroit Borg taking a look at the remote app for the Apple iPad. Thanks for watching.